Hi everybody, welcome back to the Seesaw. It is Saturday again, so it must be shopping day. It has been so hot this week. I think the three hottest days of the last year, which always amuses me when you have the first kind of really warm spell and they say it's the hottest day of the year. Well, you've had winter and spring, so you'd expect it to be the hottest day of the year. But we have had some real toasty days this week. Fans are going in the house, and work was a bit of a nightmare because I don't have air conditioning in my office. There's some parts of the building do, but I don't. So that was quite a nightmare. But shouldn't complain. And it makes me laugh because obviously I lived in Arizona for 13 of the 15 years that I lived in the States were in Arizona. And so that is temperatures like that are springtime temperatures, and obviously it's much hotter in the summer. But it sounds quite cliche, but it is a different kind of heat. It's very dry heat, which is different. This has been quite muggy at times with the thunderstorms as well. Now today is much cooler. We started out the day with a rain shower, quite a heavy rain shower, and that has really cooled the air off, and now it's quite windy out there, quite breezy. And it actually feels really nice and refreshing. So the sky is still blue. There's nice white fluffy clouds. But there has been rain today. There probably will be a bit more rain, I would expect. When I was just driving home, some of the looking of the clouds around us were quite menacing. So there's probably more rain on the way, and there's this really nice breeze. So actually I've put washing back out now in the hope that I can get that dry. So yes, I went to Aldi and just a couple of bits from Sainsbury's this week. Spent £79, so a good way to end the month on a slightly £1 below budget grocery shop. Got everything I needed this week. As I go through, I'll point out a few things, a few little extra bits I bought, but also some of the challenges with fruits and veg again at the moment, especially potatoes. The bane of my life. I just need to find a plot of land and grow my own potatoes, and then I can be either happy or cross with myself about the quality of the potatoes. But we'll get to that in a moment. So yeah, I spent £79. Still a very strange blend of people completely social distancing, having masks and gloves and all of that on, and people acting like nothing ever happened. It is just very strange. Our Aldi has now introduced, I've seen some other people talking about this, the traffic light system. So instead of having somebody stand at the door and tell you when you can go in, there's a traffic light at the door, and if it's green you can go in, if it's red you need to wait until it turns green. That seems to be working quite well. It was green when I got there, so I was able to go straight in. And again, Aldi just felt more organised. It still does. I think it's because it's a smaller store. Sainsbury's is better than Tesco in our town, but there's a long wait at Sainsbury's outside. They are really limiting the number of people they let in. They have much wider aisles, so it's not a one-way system around, because you can comfortably have people going both ways down the aisles and keep a good distance between you. But I don't know, it just... you feel under more pressure in the bigger stores, I think. So the smaller stores definitely seem to be better. So anyway, I will, after that rambling, I will turn you around. I'll show you what we got. At the end, as always, I'll show you our meal plan for the week ahead. Now, in the week ahead, I'm taking some days off. So because I worked all through lockdown, even though partly it was from home, I haven't had a day off since Christmas, and I'm fading. We're having to go through some difficult stuff at work around understanding how many people we're going to be able to bring back. We don't think we can bring everybody back just because of the way we work and the environment we work in. We just don't think it's safe to do that. So we're having to make some tough decisions at work. So I'm feeling kind of frazzled a little bit, very tired. And so I'm taking 3 days off next week. It's my birthday next week. So the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm really looking forward to it. Not planning to do much. We're certainly not planning to join the hordes of people at the beaches and the shopping centres and things. We are just going to relax as a family. So Caleb will still have a bit of schoolwork to do, as it's a normal school week for him. But we are going to relax a little bit more, and I'm certainly looking forward to that. So I have kind of built into my meal plan a few things for while I'm at home for that. But yeah, I'll show you what we got, and then I can get this stuff put away. But the last couple of weeks when I've come home with frozen stuff, with it being in the car in the heat, and then having come in the house and get everything laid out and do the video, like when Caleb has gone to eat some of his ice creams, you can tell that they've been melted and frozen again. So I'm hoping to get everything put away. It's not melted coming into the house today, so hopefully I can get everything put away in time that he's not eating refrozen ice creams this week. But let me show you what we got. Okay, so there is the sweep of everything. Not all the way around today, not quite so much stuff, but that reflects in the £79 compared to the kind of 90-ish pounds I've been spending. I've got a bag of ice cubes. With this warm weather, Caleb does like to have ice cubes in his water bottle and in with his drink, so I grabbed another bag of those, my normal TV magazine, and the large bird seed, so that's £3. They have it at both Tesco and Sainsbury's in these big bags, 4 kilograms. It lasts a couple of weeks. We've got 3 different bird feeding stations, and we feed them every day, so it lasts a couple of weeks for us. Our usual 50-50 bread, and then I spotted these. There's lots of things in Aldi at the moment that have this, if I can show it, I'm new label on it. And I spotted it. I was looking for croissants because one of the days I'm off, I want to make some nice breakfast croissant sandwiches with kind of eggs and bacon or eggs and ham and cheese in them, just as a treat, maybe on my birthday morning. But obviously, if you've ever tried to fill croissants, by the time you've cut them, they can squish together a bit and it can be quite hard. But these are croissant bread made into rolls that have been pre-sliced. These will be perfect for what I'm planning to use croissants for. So yeah, really excited to see those as I was looking for croissants. Ridge Cut crisps this week. I've gone back to fruity water for Caleb. He's had the fizzy water drinks and juice drinks the last couple of weeks. I didn't spot those in there. I think they might have been a special that they had for a while. So I just went back to regular fruity water. 15 eggs. Now there is one of these missing. I did the mistake of I was a little bit hungry as I was grocery shopping today, and I spotted these cheese twists, like cheese pastry twists, like a big huge cheese straw, and I couldn't resist. And so when I got back to the car, I did eat one while I was driving home. So my confession moment, I've eaten one of those and it was absolutely delicious. Now you will have heard something just drop to the floor, so I'm going to try to pick this up without just sending the camera in all directions. This was part of they've got lots of American products, or American themed products in at the moment because it's lead up to 4th of July. So these were some of the sugar-free little sweeties that they have a lot of, and these are the caramel popcorn. One of the things I like to have for breakfast is overnight oats, and I like to do a banoffee one with toffee yogurt, bananas and the oats. And I just thought a couple of these, and I forget how many of these you can have for, it's a sin in Slimming World. It's, can I see it on there? Per sweet is, what does that say? I haven't got my glasses on. Does it say 9 calories per sweet? Something like that. So 2 of those would be a sin. And so I was thinking about just crumbling a couple of these up and sprinkling them over the top of my overnight oats before I eat it. Weird, I know, because it's breakfast, but it just sung out to me as something that I would like to do. So that's what they're for. I got another bottle of this. I absolutely love this. I'm not a big squasher. I don't drink much water at all, and I don't drink enough water. And I'm not really a big fan of squash. I like Ribena. I like hot Ribena in the winter time. The winter spice Ribena is my favourite. I don't mind cherries and berries, and I don't mind occasionally some orange or lemon squash. But this I bought a bottle of last week, and it is so good. It is Vimto Remix, and I'm not a Vimto fan, so it definitely doesn't taste like Vimto to me. Raspberry, orange and passion fruit. And to me, it tastes a bit like a drink version of an English-style refresher sweetie, like a sherbety sweet, or like a Love Heart, or something like that, which are my favourite kind of sweets, those kind of fizzy, sherbety things. And that's what it tastes like to me. It tastes like a sweetie. And I've almost finished the bottle I bought last week, which is unheard of for me to have almost finished a bottle of squash in a week. So they were still reduced in Sainsbury's, £1.25 a bottle at the moment. So I grabbed another one. I probably should have grabbed 2. I bought these for Toney to try if you watched the haul last week, and he tried them, and in his view they were the best kind of knockoff of Ritz crackers that he'd had. They were a little bit thinner and a little bit less baked than Ritz, but he really liked them, so I got him another 2 boxes of those. Cookies and cream biscuits for Caleb and some ginger nuts, and then I treated myself to some of these. Marzipan is one of my favourite things. I like anything almond, so my favourite liqueur is amaretto. One of my absolute favourite, if I had to choose a breakfast, as much as I love porridge in the winter, as much as I love a full English breakfast, a nice latte coffee with an almond croissant or an almond pastry would be my idea of a heavenly breakfast. So I love almond flavour. And I know marzipan is one of those things that's a bit like Marmite. People either love it or hate it. I absolutely love it. And they sell these in the Polish aisle in our grocery stores. I see them both in Tesco and Sainsbury's. And they're just little pieces of marzipan coated in dark chocolate. And I always treat myself to some at Christmas, but I thought, you know what, it's my birthday this week, I'm treating myself to some for that. Any excuse. Shortbread fingers for Caleb, and then I also picked these up in Sainsbury's, which is the little shortcake bites. He used to have these quite often, these little boxes of bites and mini-sized biscuits and things. Hasn't had any for a while, and he used to love the shortcake ones, so the shortbread fingers can stay in the cupboard, they'll be good for a while, but he can have these as his little biscuit treat for this week. The other American thing they had in was these drinks. Again, I've seen a few people talking about these this week. American style grape soda, American style cream soda. They also had root beer. Now, when I lived in the States, there would quite often be things appear in our grocery store that would say, you know, British style or English style, and I'd get very excited about it. Or if we went out to eat on a restaurant menu, you know, English style fish and chips. And then I'd be very disappointed by the result, because it was never properly English style. It just wasn't. We did have one fish and chip shop open in Scottsdale, which is a kind of a suburb of Phoenix, which is where we lived. So it's one of the kind of outlying towns around the centre of Phoenix. And there was one fish and chip shop started in there. It was called the Codfather, and a bit of a shout out to them. It was run by an English couple, and they shipped in all of the frying equipment from England. And there were certain things that they used that they got from England, and it was the closest. It still wasn't quite right, but it was the closest that I ever had to English style fish and chips while I was over there. So we will see. Tony will try these, and we will see, are they actually American style, or is that just a gimmick to get us to buy it? I picked up a pot of this saucy sauce. They had this in Aldi this week. Caleb has quite started liking having mayo and ketchup mixed together to dip shrimp in and things like that you would typically use a kind of Murray Rose type sauce for. So they have whole bottles of it, and I just thought that saves him using up his ketchup and my mayo to make his own. If he wants that with something, he can have a squirt of that. A little pot of oregano, a couple of packages of instant chicken noodles. Caleb asked if he could have lollies instead of sweeties this week, so I got him one of the lots of lollies bags. Racer bars, that's the one sort of chocolatey thing that he really does like. But the last time I bought these was probably 3 weeks ago, and he's only just eaten them, so as you can tell, it's not like he has one every day. But he does occasionally enjoy one of those. I needed both dark and light soy sauce as I was out of both. A new bottle of extra virgin olive oil. I got some milk chocolate and white chocolate. Both of those are for baking things. So I prefer to use eating chocolate when I'm baking than baking chocolate. I just find, unless I'm just using it to like melt and dip, then sometimes, or to coat things, sometimes the cooking chocolate is better for that. But I find when I'm, especially with Aldi, this is, I don't know, £1 a bar or something like that. This £1.50, perhaps these big bars of chocolate. So I just go with the eating chocolate. It's a bit like wine. I would only cook with wine that I would drink, and I'll only cook with chocolate that I would eat. So that's the logic I use. A carton of the almond unsweetened milk, and that's to make another batch of rice pudding. Chunky chopped tomatoes, 2 cans of those, a can of sweet corn. I think that's all the cupboard stuff. An apple juice. Tony picked up a milk yesterday, so we've got one in the freezer, so I didn't need milk. 2 boxes of the kids' smoothies. They had the apple and blackcurrant one back in, which they haven't had for a while. So if you remember, Caleb likes the orange one. He decided he didn't like the new recipe on the strawberry and like the cherries and berries sort of one. So we haven't had that for a while. but they haven't had the apple and blackcurrant in for a while, so that may have changed too. So we'll just see if he likes that. I got a carton of, or a tin of squirty cream, the light one, because again, I'm thinking that overnight oats might turn into a pudding, with bananas, with toffee yogurt, with the caramel popcorn crushed up sweets, and a little squirt of this on the top. That's my thought at the moment. Some frozen chopped ginger. So I don't know about you, but I don't use ginger very often. I obviously use it if I'm making Asian style food mostly. And you buy even a small piece of fresh ginger and you use a tiny bit of it, and then you end up throwing it away. I know you can freeze the whole piece, but these were only £1 in Sainsbury's in the freezer. They were reduced at the moment, so there's quite a lot in there, so that will last me quite a long time. And just, you can take out a teaspoon or tablespoon, whatever you need of ginger, as you need it. 2 pots of the toffee yogurt for the aforementioned overnight oats, a macaroni cheese for Caleb, some little blocks of cheddar, some Parmesan cheese, cheese slices, and a bag of grated cheese. Ham trimmings. So this is one of those hit and miss things at Aldi. They do different versions. They do smoked ham, peppered ham, and the cooked ham, sometimes breaded ham. And it's kind of the trimmings from when they've sliced off everything to go in the, evenly sliced packages. It's what's left. And sometimes there's lots of fat and it doesn't look very good. But other times, like today, this looks really good. So it's almost slices of ham, but you get all of that for £1.89. There's 400 grams in there. So that looks really nice, just regular cooked ham that I can use for the croissant sandwiches and then perhaps for some lunches this week. Caleb's usual strawberry cones. I also got 2 of these little packages of pizza subs. So there's 2 pepperoni and 2 cheese and tomato. Just again, something to have in the freezer when I'm at work during the week and Tony's trying to come up with something for him for lunch, for Caleb for lunch. He went through a spell. We had toasties every day for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks probably, and then he went right off them. I don't think he's had one since. Then he wanted picky bits, sausage rolls, cheese, little sausages, that sort of thing. And then he went off that. And just lately he's been on the kind of mac and cheese, pizza, that sort of thing. So we're trying to rotate it and vary it so that he's always got something to choose from. And likewise, he loves mac and cheese bites. So they sell these in Sainsbury's in their kind of party food frozen area. And so those would do him a couple of lunches. A bag of mixed vegetables and a bag of broccoli florets. 2 of the pork fillets. The largest one they had wasn't quite enough for what I needed. So I ended up buying 2 of the smallest ones that they had to give me about the right amount. 2 packages of sausages, some Cumberland and some regular pork sausages, chicken thigh fillets, a large pack of those, and 2 packages of the chicken breast portions. Really fancy chicken Kievs, so we're going to make those. I think I'm going to have those tonight. So the breaded garlic chicken Kievs, so there are 2 in each one. So Tony will have 2, Caleb and I will have 1 each. Potatoes, so I got the Maris Piper. 2 bags of them because I need quite a few potatoes this week, but every single bag had potatoes in that had these kind of, you can't really tell if it's just surface or if it's going to be meaning cutting a whole chunk of the potato out, but I couldn't find a bag that didn't have something, and they smell very potatoey, if you know what I mean, which indicates to me they're not the best, but I'm just going to have to make the best of what I can with those. A big bag of wonky mixed peppers, some Jersey Royal new potatoes. I got 2 packages of these, so that's one, that's the other. They're in entirely different packaging, but they were in the same container. So don't know why these are specially selected and these are the Jersey Royal Company, so that's probably the difference. Bag of the butternut squash soup mix. This is my absolute favourite soup by a mile. I just throw this in my soup maker with a small chopped potato, some red chilli or red chilli flakes if I haven't got any fresh chilli, and some vegetable stock, and it makes the most delicious silky velvety soup. And I know it's summer and I know it's like 100 degrees outside, but I still would eat soup. And I've got some seafood sticks, some crab sticks in the freezer, so I will have those for dipping, or some of the ham trimmings there for dipping as well. Baby leaf salad. I've got a white cabbage. It looks a bit worse for wear, but you're going to peel the outer layers off anyway, and I'm sure that the cabbage, it feels fine, so I'm sure the cabbage underneath is just fine. Some fresh thyme, button mushrooms, white and red onions, a little bag of mixed chilies, some spring onions, some piccolo tomatoes, which these are my favourite sweet little tomatoes at this time of the year. They come on the vine, they're really sweet, and almost like eating sweeties. So I got those for salads this week. A net of limes, a cucumber, some wonky raspberries, and some picota cherries. Again, I love cherries. I don't like the fact that they're stoned and you have to kind of eat around the stone, but you know what? Once or twice a year, when they're in their prime season, I just really enjoy them. Those are not free on, they're not speed on Slimming World, so they're one of the fruits that are not speed, a bit like grapes, because their sugar content is a bit higher. But they are absolutely delicious, so I'm looking forward to those. And there's my bananas for my banoffee, oaty, overnight oat, puddingy, whatever it turns into. If I do make one, which I will add it to my Meals of the Week video so you can see what I end up doing with it. So looking at our plan for the week ahead, tonight we're going to have the chicken Kievs with one of the bags of new potatoes and some peas. We were going to make flapjacks today, but we're going to do it as a cooking with Caleb. But I've gone grocery shopping later in the day than I have been doing, so we're going to make those tomorrow instead. We're going to have sausage and mash pie tomorrow with veg, a bit like a shepherd's pie, but with sausages in the bottom. Peanut butter pork skewers with sauteed potatoes and salad on Monday. So that's chopping up the pork fillet, marinating it with some crunchy peanut butter and a few Asian flavours, and then grilling it. Again, it will depend on the weather, how we actually cook it, on either on skewers or otherwise I'll stir fry it. Tuesday night is my last day at work, so I thought we'd have something takeaway for dinner on Tuesday night, and that's when I'm planning to do the banoffee overnight oats ready for the next day. Wednesday, slow cooker Spanish chicken with sauteed potatoes again and some peas. And we're going to make, from my Simply Cook box, the bokkembap for lunch on Wednesday. That's the first day of my holiday, so I thought that would make a nice lunch. It's kind of a spicy rice dish, and then you put a fried egg on the top. We're going to have churrasco chicken on Thursday, which is the final recipe pot from my Simply Cook box. So again, we'll record that and add that into a special video for that with potato wedges and salad. And then probably Thursday or maybe Friday, we'll have the croissant breakfast sandwiches. And then for my birthday meal, obviously restaurants don't open until the next day, the 4th. And I don't want to be one of the first people out to a restaurant. I want them to get into their new routines and their new ways of working. And I genuinely don't mind cooking on my birthday. So we could have moved the takeaway to there, but you know what, I don't mind. We may end up mixing it up. But at the moment, I'm planning to cook something called melt in your mouth chicken. It's just chicken breast that you bake in the oven. You put a topping on it with Parmesan and mayonnaise and seasoning, and it comes out really moist and delicious. And having that with the other new potatoes and some broccoli. So that is my plan for the week. Thank you for joining us for this quite a chatty grocery haul and menu plan. And we look forward to seeing you back here on the SeeSaw soon.